Well, the weather's gone from bad to worse, and on cue it started to rain. We have a wet race declared, and we've not been able to get onto the grid and speak to the riders. They want to get it away as quickly as possible. It's a damp track all the way round the circuit. So watch Chris Walker there, first time pole position for number 2, but alongside him, Neil Hodgson, and it could well be that the Ducatis get the grip, but Hodgson did not get a particularly good start. James Hayden got his Ducati into second place, but it was Chris Walker again, another one of those electrifying starts. The number 2 Suzuki leads, number 5 James Hayden on the Ducati in second place, but it is very, very wet and treacherous and slippery out there. Some of the riders have opted to use slick tyres, but the majority have gone for intermediates or indeed full wets, and well, they might need full wets because it's getting darker and darker, but Chris Walker's down! Chris Walker, the championship leader, is down and out of round 21 here at Brands Hatch. So, there's no end to the twists and turns in this dramatic championship. The series leader's out. He will be heartbroken, but it's not too late, Roger, for him to maybe get back in the action.
Well, it looked to me that the back end turned then, and I would imagine, looking at the bike as it was laid down, that he had a cut rear slick, and that was polished on one side. He got on the wet part of the track, and down it went, and the back end came round. But Chris, it looks like he's probably getting back in the race, so this is good news for the fans and good news for his points championship. This is the instant. You can see the back end just comes round as he leans the bike over. There's a slippery part of the track there, a different surface, and it's caught him out.
Well, Neil Hodgson had a front row seat to witness that. He was sitting in third place when Chris Walker slid off. Mercifully, Walker was sufficiently far in front not to collect anyone. James Hayden then now in second, but Neil Hodgson came here trailing by 6 points in the championship for the first time this season, and he now is in a race-winning slot, but it's getting darker and darker and darker. But Neil Hodgson in third place, number 22, the Kawasaki, the green Kawasaki of Steve Walker's blown up. So that bike was damaged when he went down, Roger. Any idea what that might have been?
Well, when a bike goes on its side, anything can happen. Behind that fairing, that's the fiberglass part of the bike, anything can get damaged or trapped, and obviously something's happened to make the bike seize up.
Race leader, number 4, Neil Hodgson. In third place, in second place indeed, the Kawasaki number 22 of Steve Plater. So he's really, really going well here. We're expecting to see the wet weather specialists. Look out for Michael Rutter, number 31, and there is Walker, parked by the side of the track. So his race is over, and I just dread to think, I can't imagine what's going on in that man's head at the moment. He's seen it all slip away, literally in front of his eyes. Down he went, he's out of the race, but pressing hard now in second place, Steve Plater from Lincolnshire. He's been getting better and better and better since his mid-season spate of crashes when he knocked himself about quite badly on the Kawasaki. Look at the sky, it can only get worse, Roger.
I can't begin to tell you how difficult the surface is as Plater takes the lead up the inside of Neil Hodgson into Druitt's corner. So now Steve Plater's in the lead. I can see that the rear tyre on Plater's bike looks like a rear slick. Now, if it does happen to rain, then that's going to be a problem for him. But let's not forget that this race started as a wet race, which means that if it does rain, they are not compelled to stop it.
Well, this is the first time that Steve Plater has led a British Superbike round, and he's doing it in good style. But of course, Neil Hodgson will know now that his arch rival and chief adversary, and there he is, Chris Walker. Very, very dejected Chris Walker. Hodgson will know that he's out of the race, so he also knows that Steve Plater, from a points standpoint, is absolutely no threat to him at all. The danger man is John Reynolds, and there is John Reynolds. Oh, it's raining really, really heavily now on that part of the circuit. They're swarming all over Steve Plater. Number 6, Sean Emmett. He won a race here at Brands with a slick rear tyre on his Ducati. Hayden is elbowing his way through into second place. They're not giving up. Look how close they are. It must be desperately tricky now.
This is incredibly difficult for these riders. They've started a race on a reasonably dry track. It's now raining. They do not have the tyres to cope with this level of water on the track. And we're going to see all sorts of action now as Sean Emmett there in the lead on bike number 6 probably has got wet tyres fitted, but he's a very, very good wet weather rider. But look, they're all over the place.
A big twitch from the Ducati of James Hayden. Sitting right behind him is his teammate John Reynolds. There are team orders, as far as we know, within that Team Revy Racing Ducati team. In other words, John Reynolds, the man with the blue helmet, carrying the number 3 on his bike, third in the championship. Oh, third in the championship. My heart's in my mouth here. Sean Emmett's Honda, the SP1 Honda, gave an almighty twitch, nearly pitched him off. And Neil Hodgson, of course, needs to be a little bit circumspect here and stay out of trouble.
Well, staying out of trouble is going to be difficult because it's just like walking on glass in your best shoes, and you can't get any grip, and you're tiptoeing around, just leaning the bike over, the knees still touching the road, but the bikes aren't at any angle at all. But even in a straight line, these bikes will be aquaplaning, and they're really struggling to get this 165 horsepower down on the track and get some grip.
A little bit of a wiggle from the Ducati of Neil Hodgson in second place, the number 4 Ducati. Oh, Neil almost threw it away. He's on the grass. Somebody's down. Left of the picture there, Sparks. Somebody went down. Neil Hodgson, his motocross experience kept him upright. Goodness knows how he kept it upright. He almost threw it away there. That would have been honours even, Roger.
Well, he did the same thing as Chris Walker on that patch of tarmac that's different. The back came round, he held it. Look at this for control, and it's Plater that's gone down in the background. I can tell you that Steve Plater, the early race leader, bike 22, has gone down. I saw that in the background. This is where Hodgson gets really almost crossed up, puts the foot down, has a dab, back on the track, and joins the track with his teammate coming round. And there's Steve Plater being held away, and he looks like he's all right. And John Crawford there must have crashed as well, and both of them embrace each other, moved up from 600s into this Superbike class, and really they'll not know what it's all about. And look at Emmett. Emmett's indicating there that this race needs to be stopped. He's shaking his arm as Rutter now takes the lead.
Well, we would have expected Michael Rutter to come good, because the number 31 Yamaha rider, Michael Rutter, is really good in the wet. And number 9, David Jefferies, on a Yamaha now takes the lead. Big burly David Jefferies from Yorkshire, who is going oh so well in the Super Stock Series and has stepped in to replace Paul Brown on that number 9 Yamaha. There's 16 Shane Byrne, and it looks as though that's James Hayden's Ducati. Hayden and Byrne are both at red flag. The weather's gone from bad to worse. It really is very wet. Impossible conditions, standing water in pit lane and on the track. So 9 laps gone, we have a stoppage, and Chris Walker too, his bike on its way back.
Neil, they've just announced a half-an-hour delay. Was it a good decision to put the red flag out?
Yeah, definitely. Been racing bikes for 10 years, and they were the worst conditions I've ever been in. It was incredible. I could not turn the throttle anywhere, and I'm sure whoever had the same tyres on that I had on, I could say James Hayden had the same combination, because I saw them on the line, and we couldn't do anything. It was an absolute joke.
Well, as the marshals work hard to clear the flooded water off the Brands Hatch Indy circuit, the riders will be preparing for the restart. The restart will be over a shorter race distance and will be an aggregate race time.
Well, is there no end to the drama in this championship? This is the restart around 21, and you saw those unbelievable conditions that brought about the stoppage. Sadly, Chris Walker cannot make it for the restart because he crashed out of the race. The Suzuki failed. So now it's Neil Hodgson's opportunity to make hay here at Brands Hatch, albeit without the sun. But don't rule out those wet weather stars we saw going so well. Sean Emmett starts from the front. Michael Rutter was also very quick, and our Aussie visitor, Anthony Gobert, was going really strongly just before the stoppage. So let's see how he gets on.
Well, the riders lined up as they finished, and that's Sean Emmett on pole position there on bike number 6. Neil Hodgson shoots through on bike number 4, coming from the second row, so starting as they finished the race as it stopped. Now the conditions still just as bad as they were, although be it all not raining quite as hard, but a very wet track indeed, and all of these riders will now have the appropriate wet weather tyres.
Well, there is a lot of water still on the circuit, and grey skies, no sun coming through, and virtually no breeze means that it's not going to dry that quickly either. So I fully expect us to have wet conditions throughout this race, which bodes well for number 31, Michael Rutter, who leads at the moment. In second place as I speak, number 5, James Hayden, who was one of those fallers but has been allowed to make the restart. He was going really well. Neil Hodgson had the fright of his life in the first part when he took to the grass. His teammate teammate number 7, Neil Mackenzie, there in 4th place, going very, very well indeed. Anthony Gobert, the number 95 Yamaha, who has stepped in to replace Steve Hislop. He had his debut ride at Mallory Park, did not like it at all, but he's going well here. He is leading teammate David Jefferies, but out in front, it's Michael Rutter, the Rain Man. Rutter, number 31. Hayden, number 5 in 2nd. Hodgson, Reynolds coming strongly now. There's Colin Wright watching his man. They're all very tense. There's a lot hanging on this race. And of course, Hodgson only stands to gain whatever he does because Chris Walker doesn't go.
Well, it's a 21 lap, this rerun, and the aggregate time, the time from this race, will be added to the time from the first part of this race, added together, and then we'll get the overall times. And Gobert on bike 95, let's not forget that Gobert won a World Superbike round earlier this year at Phillip Island in similar conditions, so Gobert does favour this wet weather, and he's moving forward as this race progresses. Now Reynolds on bike number 3 is coming up the back of Neil Hodgson.
Remember, this race is on aggregate time, so the times from the first part will be added to the times of the riders from the second part. So although you're watching Neil Hodgson sitting in 3rd place here on the track with number 3 John Reynolds in 4th, that may not be the case. We're on board now with John Reynolds. Roger.
Look at this on board, it's fabulous. You can see what the rider's view is, and the spray coming off the rear tyre there of the Ducati in front of Neil Hodgson, down through paddock dip. This is where the aluminium on the bottoms of the cars is deposited on the track, and Reynolds is coming up to challenge Hodgson and has gone ahead into Druids. Fabulous pictures.
Reynolds with his knee on the ground. How brave are they? Knee on the tarmac in these conditions. The Ducati lends itself possibly to wet weather because it's a bit more predictable in terms of feeding the power in. It's a more gradual power pulse. There at the back, number 96, Paul Young, Michael Rutter's teammate, doing an admirable job carrying the tail end of the field there, and he is now in the leading bunch and pushing well. We know Paul Young goes well in the wet because he followed Michael Rutter home at Knock Hill in adverse conditions. There, Ben Atkins and Roger Marshall, the man on your left, Roger Marshall, he is this man's team boss. James Hayden tucked in 2nd place now behind Michael Rutter. Now, who is in 3rd? It's Gobert in 3rd. It's Reynolds in 4th. Up to the lead at Druids goes number 5, Hayden. So he is having a terrific race here. Hayden came here 4th place in the championship on 274 points, and he's in a 25-point position at the moment. But don't forget, we're talking about adjusted time.
Well, on adjusted time, we've yet to see where Hayden would be, and that's Paul Denning, the Suzuki team manager, looking anxiously. Of course, Walker not able to compete in this rear-run part. But now Gobert's coming up to join the action at the front, and let's not... My goodness me, Gobert goes underneath Michael Rutter into Paddock Bend. That's at 90 miles an hour in the wet, and Gobert taken the 2nd spot on the road.
That's no mean achievement. Gobert certainly is being very brave here, but he's obviously confident about the Yamaha's handling in the wet. He's confident about his own ability in the wet. This Australian now desperate to make an impression at the tail end of the year 2000 season because he needs a fat contract for 2001. He's very young. He's been regarded by an awful lot of people as being immensely talented, and talented he certainly is. He's now shadowing the race leader, James Hayden, and I say race leader of the restart, so we do need to get some update on adjusted time so we can give you an idea as to where they are. Look at Gobert, that distinctive helmet, and he has a little flashing red light on there. Is he going to pull the same move at Paddock Hill Bend? Up inside James Hayden. Yes, he goes into the lead here, and there are tail-enders ahead of them. It's going to be fun and games.
Well, the fastest man on the track at the moment is John Reynolds. Look at the back of your screen there. Reynolds has caught up with Michael Rutter, and there's Chris Walker looking very, very, very depressed indeed as he's looking at the monitor, wondering where Neil Hodgson is, I'm sure. But there's Reynolds on bike number 3 now, going ahead of Michael Rutter on bike 31 into Paddock Bend. So Reynolds is the man on the move, and we've talked about team orders in the Reve Racing camp, and if Reynolds can catch up to that man number 5, Hayden, let's see if Hayden lets him through.
Well, number 99 Privateer Championship leader Dave Heel has certainly let them through, and John Reynolds then clearly intent on getting up with James Hayden, and that is a very, very anxious time. And as I speak, the Reve Racing, Roger Marshall on the right and Ben Atkins on the left. Of course it's tense for them because they know that number 3 John Reynolds must get past Hayden, and if he does so, he's in with a chance of getting the 25 points on adjusted time. Michael Rutter, I assume, and I'm looking now, just as John Reynolds is looking, and you're looking as well, at the immense amount of water still on the track, and that's given John Reynolds the opportunity to put his number 3 Ducati ahead of his teammate James Hayden. Just what the doctor ordered for Reynolds, but Hayden's fighting back unbelievably. What's gone wrong with the team orders here? He's stealing points off his teammates, third in the championship, John Reynolds, and he's not giving up. He's a tough warhorse, John Reynolds, and they're leaning on each other. James Hayden is losing the back end a lot here. Ben Atkins is obviously watching this on the monitor, Roger. Well, it's close stuff.
Well, it's certainly close stuff, but I don't think James Hayden is doing what he's supposed to be doing here, because John Reynolds would ideally like to be passed, and this is an opportunity for him as they break into Druids, and John Reynolds leans on James Hayden there, but James Hayden's having none of it.
In fact, John Reynolds went wide there. Rutter took a big twitch. We're on the last lap now. Less than a mile for them to go. We're on the last lap, and Reynolds must get past Hayden. They're both skating about, the rear end letting loose here. Michael Rutter must know where he stands in the reckoning, and there it is. 0.9 of a second. Reynolds is behind Rutter. He must close him down. In other words, stretch away, but get past Hayden. That is the paramount job he has to do, and he's going round the outside, powering the Ducati. Is it going to be enough? No, Hayden is fighting back. The checkered flag's out. Michael Rutter on adjusted time gets the win. John Reynolds, I suspect, couldn't improve on third, but 16 points. Neil Hodgson was actually sixth. 10 points go to Hodgson, so that really has helped Chris Walker. It could have been a total catastrophe. Rutter, Hayden, Reynolds, Gobert, a good ride for the Aussie. In fourth place, the number 95 Yamaha.
You rode a tremendous race. On the last lap there, you looked like you could challenge James. Do you think he knew you were there?
It doesn't look like it, does it? I tried to show him my wheel a couple of times around the outside of Clearways, but I know it's not the move to do, but I just needed him to see me, and well, that won't help yourself.
Obviously, they're talking about team orders there, but in a race like that, it's very difficult to judge the aggregate positions.
I didn't know where we were, you know, and it was like, you know, also there was a whole group of riders there, and it's no good if you try and help, you know, let John through and then 10 people come through. So I thought it was best just to do my own thing, and I saw JR sort of pushed me quite hard at the last one, but I thought it was JR, but was it Rutter? I wasn't sure, so, you know, I just thought, well, just do your own thing.
Michael, superb win there in aggregate. What was the track conditions like in that second part?
To be fair, they were like good, you know, full wets, it was no problem. Had a bit of a problem with the front brake, just been real hard, like no feeling to it. Just worried about losing the front, so easy, but you know, when Gobert cleared off, I thought, God, I'd love to try and stick in with him, but you know, he was going well.
Well, celebrations all round. James Hayden shaking the champagne, but probably just as well that Michael Rutter is in between.